There's many people making content right now for TBC Classic and for AoE farming, both for mages and paladins. And today I thought I would show the probably my favorite gold farm, and also possibly the best AoE boost as a paladin in TBC. And yeah, just showing my gear and talents quick here. I have some tier 6 pieces, tier 5 pieces, Sunwell badge gear, and yeah, generally pretty good gear. And the figurine of the Colossus, of course, which is like the backbone of the whole farm. And I'm starting out here, buffing Righteous Fury, having Sanctity Aura, so I have no Avenger Shield, which I can explain later on, but yeah. Here you wanna start out with the Sanctuary, the buff, and if you get hamstringed early, just use Freedom. Ideally you want to use that later. You also want to exercise the Eye of Naxxramas, but it got resisted, so yeah, what can you do? So you want to run around and you want to consecrate or hit the neutral mobs, the ghostly citizens, because they won't aggro else. And if you have boosties, it's an EXP loss, and also you get gold from them, so why not? Same with these guys over here. And when I get over here, I will bubble. And then I will do Unholy Wrath to pull as many mobs as I can. Some of the mobs here aren't pulled, and yeah, that's no big issue. It's just an EXP or gold loss. Try to make the most of my bubble over here, and then I use Freedom again, and just try to face the mob so I don't take too much damage. Pull the rest of the mobs up here, get in the corner, pop my trinket, and start the AoE. So you want to have one big mob with a lot of health, ideally the A-bomb, and have Judgment of Wisdom on it and have Seal of Wisdom up. And you want to use your trinkets and just start AoEing down. You might start lagging like I'm doing a little bit here, because there's just a lot of numbers. This is probably gonna be better in TBC Classic, but yeah, on this private server it's a little bit sketch with the FPS. But I'm also using the Holy Waters in here. It's a lot of extra DPS. It does scale with Spell Power on the server. It's not gonna do that in Classic. It's been tested on the beta, so unless Blizzard changed something, it's not gonna work that way. But yeah, this pull is pretty easy. They all die in the corner here, and you can just loot away. Yeah, the mailbox can be a little bit annoying, but yeah, you could also use the corner to the left here, a little bit further up, but it's not as good with in terms of grouping the mobs up, because some of them are ranged. And if Skull, the rare mob, spawns here, you kind of gotta deal with him afterwards, because you're not gonna be able to pull him into the corner. He doesn't run out of mana like these small mobs do. But yeah, I have seen some other paladins doing this on other servers, Dr. Kale for instance, and I have nothing against his videos, but I'm just gonna say that this private server, Light's Vengeance, is a lot more Blizz-like than other servers. Not in just the fact that bosses aren't stupidly overtuned, like they are on Endless and Karazhan, with health buffs in the 200-300%. But also in the fact that the old world works a lot better, so mechanics and just generally pathing of mobs is a lot better here than on other servers. For instance, when Dr. Kale does this, he runs straight through the gates here and just chain pulls the whole dungeon more or less, which is not possible on... it's not possible on the live client in Classic right now, it's not possible on the beta, and it's not possible here. And he also runs in from the Undead side, and the boss, the Gatekeeper, does not run away on that server, so yeah. The old world content on Endless and Karazhan Atlantis is generally pretty broken. Same goes for Scholomance. The pull he does there also doesn't work, because the mobs reset if you go up to the upper level, so you can't just pull it from the entrance. But yeah, that's another topic. I may make a video on that, but I doubt that's gonna work very well in TBC Classic. But yeah, so here I'm just going around looting all the crates, because they have a lot of good grace and potions and also holy water, which is very useful in TBC raids, both in Hyjal, in Black Temple, in Karazhan. Yeah, generally really good. And if you have boosties, I don't know, you might want to avoid it or do it after the run or whatever, but yeah. It takes a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it, especially if you're raiding like me and need the waters, then it's very good. And I generally just use the potions I get in those crates just during the run, or else I trash them or sell them, because it's only the greater mana potions or superior healing potions. So yeah, it's not really worth it much, but it's a free boost for your mana while doing the pulls. But yeah, the gates closing like this is the reason you can't just chain pull the whole instance. Like, you would be able to do that if you could keep the gates open, but yeah, that's not possible. They close and you gotta do the RP event with the bugs and stuff, yeah. So here, I basically just run over here, and I don't mind if there's one mob that pulls with me there. Like, I'm just gonna run straight through everything here, and freedom myself, pull those mobs, go over here, and check. I usually check if there's a chest. I check if it's locked or not. Yeah, I didn't do that here, but yeah, you can check it if you're over there, so you avoid going back there if you don't wanna. And if it's not possible, because if it's locked, only rogues can do it, or if you make Arcanite keys, but that's kind of crazy. So yeah, but again, same procedure here. I kind of use the abuse the A-bomb's knockback to my profit here, to get in the right direction, which is over here. And when I get over here, low health, I bubble and pull those, run all over here. And when I'm in range of both these ghouls and the Unforgiven, I use a Holy Wrath. Try to get a little bit of healing in, and then I move towards this corner. Once again, you always just want to get the casters grouped up, right? Which is why I move into the corners. And this corner is really good for that. So into the corner, pop my trinket, keep up Seal of Wisdom, Judgment of Wisdom, and yeah, go at it. The figurine of the Colossus has already been popped, as you saw, so back to full health. And just pumping him down. And using holy water. So yeah, it's pretty easy. I've also seen some other servers, like, I mean, again, Dr. Kale, when he does this, can just run away from the mobs. I have Pursuit of Justice from the red tree, so I have 15% movement speed here. But even with that, the mobs will just overtake you. Like, this is the case in Classic too. You can't just outrun mobs like these. These mobs run faster than a regular player, even with the Pursuit of Justice. So yeah, I'm feeling not too confident about the Strat 1 pull that Dr. Kale and others have shown on video. I wouldn't place my bets on that working, honestly. I feel like it's better to do smaller pulls like this, and it's more realistic to do both because people will have worse gear than I have here, and also less experience. So yeah, even if the one pull would work, which I highly doubt, you still have the problem with the gates. So yeah, I really don't think that's gonna be the way. But yeah, once I'm done here, just loot everything and gotta heal back up and drink back up, and then gotta move on. Checking some of the crates on the way, of course. And if I was doing the probably most efficient route, I would just continue there towards the rest of the undead mobs in the living side and clean out and go out, which is about like a, I don't know, 12-13 minute run, which is very good for boosting, obviously, because you reach 4 lockouts within an hour, 4 or 5 lockouts, which is really good. So yeah, but here I decide to go over to the living part just to show the mobs and also the pulls, because if you're just doing it yourself, you might as well include this, because the gold you get from here is really good, because you get more large brilliant shards and you also get the righteous orbs, which is kind of nice. they'll still be worth a little bit in TBC Classic, and also like if you can't sell them on the auction house, then you might as well just vendor them, and they're like 2 gold a pop. So, hey, that's pretty good. And these Scarlet guys also drop really good greens, grays, and also mana pots, whatever, yeah, stuff like that. This farm is generally quite a good major mana potion farm, which, to be fair, those potions are kind of good, even in TBC Classic. Like I use them in raids, for instance, in Hyjul on Asgalor to avoid the mana burn. Oh, sorry, not Asgalor, Khazragol. Yeah, to avoid the mana burn mechanic. But yeah, major mana potion is really good. You don't generally need the TBC mana potions for a lot of stuff as a paladin. Unless you're doing ret, then you definitely want to use the bigger mana potions, but as protection you get so much mana back. So yeah, I'm abusing the knockback here to get into the places I want. I want to position myself between the mobs and the place I want to be. Because if you get knocked back into a corner, it can be pretty tricky to get in here. And once I get in here, I will use wings, and I will also pop my trinkets and just burst everything down. Because these mobs do less hits on you, which is less beneficial for the trinket. You get less healing back on these, which you gotta be aware of. And you will generally have a harder time killing them too, because they're not undead, so you can't use Holy Waters and you can't use Holy Wrath. And they run away, so you also you're gonna waste some mana on that. So Seal of Wisdom and Judgment of Wisdom is even more important here, and also LOS them, because if you can't get the casters on you, they will just cast and not melee you. And Paladins benefit a lot from things hitting them. Both because you hurt them when they do, and also because they can proc Reckoning, which gives you a lot of mana back with the Seals and Judgment. But yeah, at this point, just burn the rest down and it's fine. They disarm you, but that's not really an issue for a Paladin. Your weapon doesn't mean much. You might want to have your unarmed skill up though, because you still want the mana back, but apart from that, it's not an issue at all. So I'm getting pretty low here, but I also have my bubble, and I have potions and whatever, so I mean, there's nothing to worry about. When you have like 3-4 mobs left, Holy Shield can be pretty good to just burn them down, because they'll just whack themselves to death like this. And again, I want to stress this, Blessing of Sanctuary is really, really good in these places. The damage reduction is really good, and also the DPS is pretty good from it. In big pulls like this, the damage from Sanctuary, the Blessing of Sanctuary, is about the same as the damage from Holy Shield if you're using Holy Shield in cooldown, which is not bad because it's just purely passive. So by killing these mobs, you spawn the boss, Timmy, which is now running around behind me. But I'm not gonna pull him now, because I'm gonna go in and do one pull in here. Now you gotta think about when you're going in here, which you also, by the way, need the Scarlet key for from Scarlet Monastery library. But yeah, when you're going in here, you gotta remember these mobs in here hurt a lot more than these mobs outside here. And I mean a lot. They generally are harder to kill. There are more casters, which doesn't benefit you. And they also do the knockback. And one last thing, they also mana burn, which depending on the spawns here can be a little bit rough. So yeah, might want to look out for that. But that's also mostly further in. Early in here it's not that bad. Though, as I said, you still want to look out. You're more likely to want to skip this if you don't have good gear. But yeah, again, once I have full mana, just pull these guys pretty easy and position myself so if they knock me, I'll be knocked in the right direction. I think I was talking to someone at this point, which is why I'm not moving, but yeah. Alright, there we go. So yeah, just pull these. I'm using Seal of Light, just for the small health regen. And yeah, positioning myself so yeah, if I get knocked back like that, I'm in the right direction. A little bit unfortunate there on the wall, but still works out. So going in there, just pulling these. Yeah, nice pushback. Pulling these, going around here, and LOSing them immediately. You wanna LOS them, and you wanna pop wings and just go full ham here. Trinkets, wings, everything. AoE them. You wanna get them down as fast as possible. They shouldn't pull the pack at the end of the corridor. They very rarely do. If they do, it's not a big issue at all. But yeah, they may. So I'm AoEing as much as I can here, and once the mobs start running away, you want to go in here. Because if you don't, then they will... I mean, they can pull the pack, but more importantly, they will spread out a lot. So in here, you have a lot more room to wiggle them around, so you get them into your consecration again. By using the pillars. And just generally walking around them, so the casters also move towards you. At this point, I have a lot of health avoidance and mana, which makes this easier. If you don't have a lot of mana, which I did this with a lot worse gear too, and then it's crucial to get these killed down pretty fast. So you wanna be more precise on the LOS than I was here. But yeah, doing this, these mobs die also pretty quickly and easily, so yeah. I'm not sure how much XP these give compared to the outside mobs. If these give a lot of XP, then it might be worth killing them for boost these two, but yeah, I'm not too sure. You get some spawns out in the corridor behind here when you kill all these, both undeads and regular Scarlet, so just be mindful of that. You can also continue further into the instance, but you will have to do smaller pulls, and the Cannon Master part is basically impossible because of the, ironically, Paladins down there, which bubble, which makes it very hard to kill them fast enough. And you will just get clobbered to death. They also stun, which is a very big issue. If they stun you, you are completely out of avoidance, so you're gonna get clobbered very hard. So yeah, the bubble plus the stun makes the Cannon Master part, the Cellar, basically impossible. So I wouldn't do it, but the rest, the way up to Balnazar, is pretty doable. So yeah, if you want to do that, then it's very possible. And you can also just head straight for Balnazar and just kill whatever you have to get the large Brilliant Shards and the other boss, but yeah, it can be a little bit rough. Especially if you're unlucky on the mana burn mobs, the Inquisitors. There's a lot of them, you might struggle quite heavily. So yeah, on a normal run, if you're including the living side, I would just only do these two pulls and call it a day. So what I'm gonna do now when I run out is I'm gonna pull all these new spawns and Timmy and just get them down. I generally find this is better because as a Paladin, you just generally don't wanna have you don't wanna have one mob fighting you. You wanna have at least like 5, 6, 7 mobs, because if you don't, then you're gonna have worse mana regen. You're gonna be less efficient with your damage, get less reckoning procs. Yeah, in general, it's a bad idea. So doing it like this, having a little pack of mobs, not just Timmy, which would take forever, is good. And I also use Seal of Vengeance on Timmy because it's a more mana efficient and faster way to kill him when it stacks up to 5 stacks. So I like doing that. And keeping Judgment and Wisdom, of course, I mean. So yeah, just burning him down. And there's a lot of crates in this place too, so you want to check all the crates in here for Green's Grace, potions, and the Holy Water. The crates also spawn scrolls of different sorts, and the strength and agi ones can be valuable for both melee and for hunters in TBC. So I reckon those will probably sell good in TBC Classic. They're not as good as the TBC ones, but still they're a lot more abundant if you're not just making repair bots and destroying them to make scrolls. So yeah, those should probably sell. I feel pretty confident you should probably also be able to sell some of the greens you get in here and stuff. You may be lucky to get the blues that only drop in Stratholme too, which are pretty good. So yeah. These skeletons just respawn all the time, so you may have to kill a couple of these to get at the crates, but yeah, not a big issue. Alright, done with the Scarlets and running back out here. Just putting Blazing of Wisdom to regen a little bit of mana, since I got a drink anyways. Now, there is a possibility to use Avenger's Shield, which can be nifty to use some pulls in there and stuff. But I prefer doing the Sanctity Aura build because it's generally a lot more damage. And if you're using the Ret Aura, you're not getting as much benefit as you might think, because if you're avoiding attacks, then you're not proccing it. Say you're dodging an attack, then that's not gonna proc the reflective damage. So Ret Aura is less valuable than you might think in here. And Sanctity Aura generally beats it because it's just so much more damage with how strong Consecration is in TBC. So I was actually pretty shocked to find out that Consecration gets such huge coefficiency nerf in TBC. Like, I assumed it was just better, but the coefficiency, I think it's from 30% spell coefficiency to 95%, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, very well welcome for Paladins, of course. But yeah, his Consecration is just broken good. So yeah, I'm just pulling all these regularly, bubbling here, Holy Wrath, and we got the rare spawn. Skull, so using this corner in here to pull him in here. If you don't get Skull, you might use the corner on the opposite side too, works too, but if you have Skull, you want to use this one to get him into the AoE. And Seal of Wisdom, Judgment of Wisdom, and just blast away. Trinkets, go ahead, use Holy Waters, burn them down. It can be nifty to have the Judgment bound with a macro to start attack. I use that because you may not see the wide attacks or just forget it, and then you're standing there getting no mana suddenly, which can be pretty bad. So yeah, I would use the macro for that, just to keep it going. And the diseases are not really something you need to worry about. They are pretty insignificant for a Paladin. So yeah, just ignore them basically. It doesn't really work dispelling them because they're just going to be reapplied immediately by the mobs. So yeah, it's a waste of mana to try to dispel them really. Alright, these are dead. Depending on how much grays and greens you've gotten, you might run into bag issues here already. I have some 16 slot bags and one 20 slot bag. So yeah, I don't have the biggest bags on this server, but yeah, you might run into some issues. And then you generally just want to start deleting the night crawlers and yeah, cheap stuff like that. Even the superior healing potions and greater mana potions, because yeah, they really don't do that much and they are not worth a lot. I think a stack of 5 superior healing potions vendors for like 12 silver, 50 copper. So yeah, it's one of the first things to go. You might want to hang on to the Ichors of Undeath and Essence of the Undeath. I think they're useful for jewel crafting leveling. So yeah, those might be better than you think. And of course the Rune Cloth, you don't want to destroy that. That's gonna be pretty valuable in TBC. With all the transmute ults needed and tailoring leveling. I also got a pristine black diamond in this run, which might be valuable for something in TBC Classic, but I'm not sure. I end up destroying it here because on this server it's not worth anything, since it's a TBC private server and yeah, no one cares. So I use a Holy Wrath to start this pull, run over here, exorcism that mob, and you're gonna be hamstring, so use your freedom. Pull these, run over here. You might get the knockback again from the boss. If you do, just position yourself so you can abuse it. Yeah, like that. And run over here, check if there are any lingering mobs, and if there aren't, just start the AoE. Just abuse the LOS again to gather up all the mobs. Use the big guy, pop wings, Judgment of Wisdom, Seal of Wisdom, Trinket, AoE him down. And use Holy Water, of course. Holy Waters can also help a lot if you use them early on, before you got a good gear, because it hurts quite a bit. And if you combine it with wings, it will do a lot more damage. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna stay true even in TBC Classic, because it's just a flat 30% damage increase to everything, so it scales with literally anything you can use. But yeah, this boss is pretty easy. Since he hits so fast, he basically just kills himself on your Holy Shield. It's pretty fun to see, actually. Fast hitting mobs are the best as a Paladin. I like to drag him a little bit away from the mobs because he drops the key to the gate, which is what I'm doing here. And that can be pretty annoying if you're trying to loot everything and you have full bags, because the key is just gonna linger there, so you might want like to have to destroy your previous key and get the new one. Yeah, it's just a hassle. I just generally like to drag him away so he doesn't interfere with the other loot. And there we go. Check that crate. There's no other crates in this place, so there's no reason to go around checking it. And just loot all these mobs. And now my inventory is gonna be full. So yours might be, even before this. I've had several runs where I've had the inventory full way before this. So yeah, just destroy some stuff, pick it up, move on. And that's the whole run. So, like I said, adding the living side, the Scarlet takes, yeah, 10 minutes extra or something, and some running time. So yeah, it may not be worth it if you're boosting, may not be worth it in general because they're harder, so you might want to just avoid them. But the Undeads are really easy all the time. So yeah, I didn't even min-max this, or I was pretty sloppy in this run, I would say. So you can definitely do better than this, but I'm just doing this casually for gold before raid, so yeah, this is just a showcase of how easy it is, really. And I think this farm is potentially the best gold farm for a Paladin in all of TBC. And I mean that because if you think about it, you're getting about 200 gold an hour just in raw gold from vendoring stuff. And you can also add up the rune cloth you can sell, which I'm not doing here because the server economy is pretty dead, so I'm just vendoring it. And you can add on the righteous orbs, and you can add up the large brilliant shards, which are really, really good because the wizard oil, the brilliant wizard oil from Classic, is still the best oil in TBC for casters, like warlocks, mages, and elemental shamans, stuff like that. So those are going to be worth a lot. Currently on the server I sell each large brilliant shard for about 15 gold. So in this one I got, I think, yeah, we're going to see pretty soon, but I think I got like 6 or 7 shards. So that's almost, yeah, that's 100 gold or so plus. So if you add that up, you would probably be looking at like 300-400 gold an hour just from auction house and venerables. And if you add in boosties in that, you can probably be looking at 600 gold an hour, something like that, if you really want to go at it. So yeah, needless to say, this farm is pretty wild, I gotta say. I have no idea how the boosting meta will be looking on TBC Classic, but if this ends up working out, then you're gonna be looking at a pretty good situation for Paladins. If you wanna boost, that is. Even if you don't wanna boost, this is pretty solid. Probably the best brain-dead Paladin farm there is, like, there's just no competition. You can see my disenchanting here. You really wanna have enchanting as a Paladin doing this. In general, I think Paladins benefit a lot from using enchanting, both because you get the spell power on the rings and also just because you can do so much AoE farming that will give you things you can disenchant. So yeah, generally really a very good profession to have for a Paladin. But yeah, that's the whole run. And this guy is really good to do the quest for, so you get him as a vendor, because then you don't have to run all the way back to Lightsoap Chapel. Make kind of a nice circle for the run.